Green Sally up, Green Sally down, left on the start, gotta tell the ground. Green Sally up, Green Sally down, left on the start, gotta tell the ground.
The Tulsa Drillers celebrated a record-breaking 2014 campaign. The team won the first half of the Texas League Northern Division. There were 10 Tulsa Drillers named to the mid-season All-Star team. Tulsa returned to the Texas League Championship game for the first time since 2002. The Drillers' Tyler Anderson was named Texas League Pitcher of the Year. One Oak Field celebrated 18 sellouts on the season. And among other accolades, the Drillers were crowned the Texas League Organization of the Year. Whether you missed any of the action from this season, or if you're like me and just want to relive some of the magnificent moments, join us as we break down the Drillers' 2014 season month by month and dissect the amazing season that was.
When I met you in the summer.
The fun began on April 3rd, opening day, and the fans came by the thousands in anticipation for the new season. The Drillville Drummers were introduced to the rowdy crowd of nearly 8,400 people, and no Drillers fan was disappointed with how this one ended. In the bottom of the ninth, with the Drillers trailing the Hooks 3-2, Christian Adames destroys one to right field. It's gone, and to extras we go. In the bottom of the 11th, with the game-winning run on third,
he is in the dirt to the backstop, coming in to score, and in the ball game is Featherston.
The Drillers win on opening night in unconventional fashion, however fitting for the remainder of the season. The Drillers became accustomed to winning in strange ways throughout the season. In the coming weeks, the Drillers celebrated a Teddy Toss, where hundreds of teddy bears were donated to a children's charity, and fans also celebrated a St. Francis Cancer Survivors Night, wherein waving pink towels colored the stadium throughout the evening. As for the Drillers, well, they would take a win any way it would come, especially at home. The Drillers went 12-14 in April, but were only 4-10 at home. Tulsa also committed 38 errors in the month, averaging 1.5 per game. The most unbelievable part, 32 of those were at home. For some strange reason, the Drillers could not win in front of their home crowd, but through all the frustration in the month and no more than a 2-game winning streak, there was a bright spot. It came in the form of the 6'1", 185 Texas native Taylor Featherston. Featherston hit a Texas League leading 31 hits in the month with a .320 average. He finished April with a second-best 7 doubles, but as the leadoff man for most games, he only had 10 RBIs. Taylor had 7 multi-hit games in the month, and from April 8th to April 25th, Featherston had a 15-game hitting streak. And yep, you guessed it, that hitting streak came to an end at home. The Drillers also got exceptional work out of starting pitcher and former 20th round draft pick in 2011, Dan Winkler. Winkler boasted a 3-1 record during April and a .90 ERA. In Game 1 of a doubleheader in Little Rock, Dan got a complete game shutout in a 7-inning game, and he finished the month with a Texas League leading 33 strikeouts. During the month of May, One Oak Field celebrated the annual Bedlam Series, and in anticipation for the series, 1,000 Driller fans were given either an OU or an OSU jersey, depending upon which team they support. Bedlam Night at the Drillers game was a huge success, and the 2 games of the Bedlam Series itself welcomed nearly 20,000 fans to One Oak Field. And for our favorite boys in blue, May was a pivotal month for the ball club. Taylor Featherston's average dropped to .204, but the team average jumped up 9 points. The home run total jumped from 14 to 22, and the RBI total jumped from 86 to 113 in May. The team as a whole hit its stride in May, going 17-11 in the month, including an 8-4 record at home. The Drillers won multiple games in a row 5 different times in the month, and from May 10th to May 15th, the Drillers collected 5 wins in a row. But the Drillers' success during the month was in jeopardy. Tulsa lost its number 1 catcher in Tom Murphy in the middle of the month. It was a shoulder injury that would hold him out for the rest of the year. To make matters worse, Drillers ace Dan Winkler, who is sporting a 5-2 record and a 1.41 ERA, had Tommy John surgery, which effectively ended his season as well. Later in the month, there was fear that Tyler Anderson wouldn't be able to pitch the rest of the year, as he'd been dealing with shoulder soreness the last year. And just when you thought it couldn't get any worse, the Drillers' opening day starter Eddie Butler got called up to the Colorado Rockies. Despite losing yet another pitcher, the Drillers were excited for Butler's opportunity to play at the highest level. This forced Oklahoma native and second-year pro John Gray into the number 1 spot for the Drillers, a 3-1 record to go along with 21 strikeouts and just 6 walks. And late in the month, concerns for Tyler Anderson were put to rest as he would end up missing just 1 start. And before we knew it, it was June baseball time. And June was a busy month in Drillville. On June 12th, the Drillers celebrated Star Wars Night, where fans were allowed to celebrate and dress as their favorite Star Wars characters. Several of those characters threw out the first pitches, and Chewbacca stole the mic from Justin and took over the MC role. And late in the month was the Here's to the Heroes Night. Veterans and their families were honored on the field for their services, and a couple of veterans' families were awarded scholarships on behalf of the Folds of Honor Foundation. The Drillers wore patriotic jerseys, as did Justin, who regained his status as the Drillers' MC. It was one of the biggest fireworks shows of the year, but most importantly, all of the true heroes were honored. June was another good month for the Drillers as they were in mid-season form. The batting numbers continued to get better, and the Drillers' bullpen was strong and made up for a lack of starting pitching, as the Drillers signed and released 3 starting pitchers during the month. And there were more moves than that within the organization. Center fielder Delta Cleary Jr. was called up to the Colorado Sky Sox, as was catcher Dustin Garneau. First baseman Harold Riggins was traded to Cincinnati, but the Drillers also picked up some strength. Top prospect from the Modesto Nuts, Trevor Story, joined an already strong infield for the Drillers. As the batting average rose to .267 and the hits to .253, as well as the triples to 14 in the month of June, Story joined the Drillers just in time for this.
Second baseman Featherston is actually a couple of steps on the outfield grass. Now he kind of wanders to the edge of the dirt. And the pitch. Swing and a shot to first. Caught by Riggins. Ball game over. And the Tulsa Drillers are winners of the first half of the Texas League Northern Division. First half champion Tulsa Drillers.
The Drillers were rolling and they were playoff bound. They went 15-12 on the month, but at the beginning of the month, misfortune struck the Drillers once again. Drillers closer Scott Oberg was 15 for 15 on save opportunities and didn't allow a run in the month of June, but he began to experience some discomfort in his shoulder. And although he would make one more appearance for the Drillers in late August, the closing duties fell into the hands of Cole White. White finished June 3 for 3 on save opportunities and allowed just 1 run. But with an already dwindling pitching rotation, the Drillers were asking Cole White to be the team's marquee closer for the remainder of the year. And more than halfway through the season in the month of July, the Drillers hosted a Clunker Cars Night, where Justin played a used car salesman and talked up vehicles that were held together by duct tape and that had old Cheetos in the back seat. But it was also the Pack the Park Pink Night, and all of the proceeds went to cancer research. Later in the month, the Drillers paid homage to former Drillers coach Mike Coolbaugh, who was tragically struck by a foul ball while coaching first base for the Drillers in July of 2007. The Drillers wore bracelets in honor of his name and number, and Mike's children, Joseph Michael, Jacob Michael, and Ann Michael, threw the first pitches for the game. The month of July for the Drillers was a frustrating and disheartening one. While the team's batting stayed on par from the rest of the season, and the Drillers even welcomed back Christian Adames from the Rockies and Delta Cleary Jr. from the Sky Sox, not to mention Trevor Story finding his bat during the month, and newcomers Chris O'Dowd and Will Swanner giving the lineup a big boost, the pitching numbers just weren't there. The team ERA jumped up to a massive 4.36, that from a 3.37 in May. The Drillers also walked 111 batters. That's above the Drillers' average walks per month by 35 batters. Not only that, but the Drillers gave up 265 hits, up from 230 in June and just 195 in May. Tulsa went 11-17 in July, And with almost a completely different team from the first half of the season, it looked like the Drillers would struggle to even stay above 500. The lone spark plugs in the Drillers pitching staff were Tyler Anderson, who had a 1-1 record through July, but held a .33 ERA through 27 innings pitched. And out of the bullpen, it was Ken Roberts, who was 1-0 in the month and had a 1.62 ERA through 16 innings pitched. And both of those guys stayed red hot through August as well. And speaking of August, we have arrived. The final full month of regular season baseball, and nearly every game at One Oak Field was a party. Early in the month, the Drillers hosted Mascot Mania, where Hornsby got a couple of friends together, including the KC Wolf, Blue from Sporting KC, Dinger from the Colorado Rockies, Volt from the Tulsa Shock, and ORU's Eli the Eagle, just to name a few. And I think more grown men belly laughed on that day than any other time I can remember. Later in the month was the Margaritaville night, where everybody kicked it in their favorite Hawaiian gear and enjoyed some easy listening throughout the game. Then it was our OKC Thunder night at the ballpark. The Thunder drummers as well as Rumble came out and visited One Oak Field in anticipation for the Thunder's deep playoff run in 2015. Then on August 30th was the final fireworks show of the year, as well as a glow stick party with the lights shut off. And then the unimaginable happened.
First time in 2 seasons. The fireworks go off. The fans are cheering, children are crying. Chili finally has won the race. Congratulations to Chili. Fans the winner of the 4th TV.
Wow, what a moment. An unforgettable night for that young refrigerator. For the Drillers, National League batting champ Michael Kadire played with the Drillers on a 4-game rehab assignment, and he was a part of an explosive month for our struggling Drillers. The Drillers showed very strong play through August and had 5 or 6 key guys step up. In the day-to-day lineup, it was Brian Humphreys, who batted .342 in the month and added a couple of game-winning hits. And then it was outfielder Tyler Massey, who batted .333, had 33 hits on the month, including 8 doubles. From August 2nd to August 15th, he even put together an 11-game hitting streak. He also knocked in 12 drillers and stole 7 bases in August. And then a couple of the new guys. Will Swanner, who became known as the Honey Badger because of his clutch hitting, and for a couple of injuries that wouldn't hold him out of the game. And lastly, Chris O'Dowd, who batted .302 in the month, including a .400 on-base percentage, 7 doubles, and 10 RBIs. On the pitching side of things, the Drillers dropped their ERA from .436 to a .331, thanks in large part to Tyler Anderson's continued excellence on the mound. Tyler boasted a 1.50 ERA in August, while striking out 20 batters and only giving up 4 runs. And also Carlos Hernandez, who had a 1.78 ERA in the month, to go along with 23 strikeouts and only 6 earned runs. Overall, the Drillers stepped up their game big time in August, finishing the month with a 16-13 record and winning 8 of their last 10 games in the month. It was perfect. The Drillers had struggled in recent months, but were catching fire with the playoffs right around the corner. There was one regular season game in September and then playoffs. The Drillers finished the Texas League North Division in 2nd place overall. Tulsa had a 71-68 record, trailing the Arkansas Travelers by 3.5 games, who finished with a 75-65 record. In the South Division, it was the Frisco Rough Riders taking the number 1 seed. Frisco finished the season with an 80-59 record. They won both the first and second half championships. Close behind in both halves of the season were the Midland Rockhounds, who finished with a 77-63 overall record, and who were poised to finally get the best of the Rough Riders. Prior to Game 1 of the playoffs for the Drillers, Taylor Featherston, Christian Adames, and Tyler Anderson were presented trophies, as all 3 of them represented the Drillers as Texas League All-Stars. Not only that, but with a 1.98 ERA for the season for Tyler Anderson, he breaks the Tulsa Drillers' Jeff Francis historical record for lowest ERA in a season. Anderson was awarded the Texas League Pitcher of the Year trophy. And then before we knew it, Game 1 of the playoffs had begun. Though the Drillers were given an early run in the first inning as a gift, the Travelers had 11 hits on the night to the Drillers just 5. And the Travs took Game 1 of the series 4-1. And in Game 2, the Travelers took another 1-0 lead off of a home run. It was one of just 2 hits given up on the night by Anderson. But then in the bottom of the 7th inning, Christian Adames said he wanted one of those. Later in the inning, Trevor Story gets his first hit of the playoffs. It's a 2 RBI single. The Drillers go up 3-1. After the Travelers scored 2 runs to tie it up, it was Christian Adames once again in the bottom of the 10th inning.
Set. Runners take their leads at second and third with 2 outs. And the 1-1 delivery. Swinging a line drive, base hit left field. The Drillers win it in the 10th inning. 4-3 final. As Adames is mobbed in the middle of the field.
Game 3 of the series was in Little Rock, Arkansas, where Drillers starting pitcher Carlos Hernandez threw a complete game shutout. He gave up just 3 hits on the night, and the Drillers get a big win and were just 1 game away from being Texas League North champions. But North champions they would soon become. In Game 4 of the series, it was a 1-1 tie through 5 innings, but the Drillers busted it open in the 6th for 3 runs and then 2 more in the 7th. But then the Drillers had their hearts broken. The Travelers scored 3 runs in the 7th and 3 runs in the 8th to take a 7-6 lead. But Taylor Featherston's 2 RBI double, as well as another insurance run, gave the Drillers a 9-7 advantage. They held on and won the series. And that meant that it was time for the Texas League Championship Series. What an incredible journey it had been all the way to that point in the season. The Drillers got hot when they needed it most and came together as a team to put up some amazing numbers. The Drillers were set to take on the Midland Rockhounds. The Rockhounds took down the number 1 seed Frisco Rough Riders. The Rough Riders were expected to win the Texas League Championship this season, and they had been dominant all year. In Game 1 of the series, it was former Driller Kent Mathis smacking a 3-run homer, and on a night where the Drillers only managed 3 hits, that was enough for the Rockhounds to win it. In Game 2 of the series, it was a different story. The Drillers got hot quickly and scored runs early on in the game. The RBI single by Ryan Castile and the 2 RBI single by Chris O'Dowd helped launch the Drillers to an early 4-1 advantage, and the Drillers won that game 5-2. For Game 3, Tulsa headed to Midland. In this one, it was Will Swanner, the Honey Badger, at the plate. Trailing 1-0, but with 2 guys on base, Swanner doubles in both of the runners, and the Drillers have a 2-1 lead. But in the bottom of the 9th, tied at 2 with 2 runners in scoring position, Dusty Coleman rips one to left field, and Brian Humphreys makes an incredible shoestring catch. It saves the game for the Drillers, and their hope is still alive. Top of the 11th tie game, the Honey Badger strikes again. This time it makes it over the fence. It's a 3-run homer. Will Swanner wins it for the Drillers with a 5 RBI performance, and the Drillers have a 2-1 lead in the series. But the Rockhounds came back in Game 4 with a vengeance. The Rockhounds took Game 4 and the series was tied 2-2. It all came down to Game 5. But 149 games into the long season, the Drillers just couldn't pull it off. The Rockhounds enjoyed a 2-run home run by Dusty Coleman in the 2nd inning, and then a solo shot from Connor Crumbless in the 5th. In the end, it was the Rockhounds winning it 5-0 and taking home the Texas League Championship. The Drillers had 9 hits in the game, but they just couldn't help each other out. They went 0 for 9 with runners in scoring position, and they even left the bases loaded on one occasion. No matter how it ended, this season was without a doubt one that will go into the record books. Though we hope next season is even stronger, if you were involved in any way with the Tulsa Drillers 2014 season, you can't help but smile and be proud for what your Tulsa Drillers did this year.
Now the Driller fans making some noise, some of them standing. Ober comes set, 2-2 pitch. Strike 3 called, ball game over. Spectacular leaping stop at shortstop, back up the middle to his left. A diving catch at second base by Featherston. He dove through the air with a backhand. Fly ball to right, hit deep. Simon's going back into the corner, and this one is caught. He caught it. He robbed a home run. 3-2 pitch. Swing a little looper into left field. Going out is the shortstop Story. Still going out and makes an over-the-shoulder catch. Swinging a liner towards right center field. Racing in and making a headlong diving catch. White stares in for the sign. Sees one he likes. Here's the 3-2 pitch. Strike three called. Ball game over. And the pitch. Swinging a line drive. Base hit center field. Massey around third. Comes to the plate. The throw. He scores. And the Drillers win it. Kirby's next pitch. Swinging a bouncer over the mound towards second base. Backhanded pickup by Rivera. Throw to first. He got it. Leads all three bases. The pitch. In the dirt to the backstop. It kicks off the backstop. Sliding in safely. He's going to round and come to the plate. Here comes the throw. Safe. Tyler Massey with an inside the park home run on a deep fly ball to left center field. 1-0 delivery. Swinging a pop-up. Third base side foul territory. Story's coming over near the dugout along with Castile, but that one is caught. Caught by Story inside the dugout. And the Drillers win the game. 0-1 pitch. Swinging a deep drive to left field. Orr's going back to the wall. It is gone. A home run. Here's a 1-0 pitch and a bunt. Third base side, a good one. Picked up with a bare hand by Wisdom. He throws low to first. It gets away. Around third base, Curry Jr. scores. First pitch, swinging a ground ball, fair ball down the left field line, just inside the third base bag. And he's on his way to second. Here comes the throw, and he is going to be out by a wide margin. Once again, the Drillers one strike away from evening up this championship series at a game apiece. Many of the fans on their feet. 2-2 pitch, swing and a miss, struck him out. Ball game over. Swinging a one hopper to short, fielded by Story. Goes to second for one, throw to first, double play. And the pitch. Swinging a bouncer over the mound towards the middle of the infield, fielded by Featherston. His throw to first, in time for the out to end the ball game. The Drillers turn a triple play, 5-4-3. 2-2 pitch, swinging a ground ball back up the middle, backhanded pickup by Rivera. Quick throw to first for the out. Swinging a ground ball to first, fielded there by Burgeon, who goes to second for one, back to first, double play. 0-2. Swinging a ground ball hit to third. Backhanded pickup by Wong. Long throw to first for the out. Pitch swinging a liner to first. Caught by Castile. 1-0 pitch. Swinging a ground ball to third. Diving stop by Adames. Gets up, throws to first for the out. Here's the 0-2. Swing and a miss as he fell over. Swinging a ground ball. Diving backhand is stopped by the third baseman. Adames throws to first for the out. And the pitch. Swinging a ground ball into left field. The base hit. Wong is around third. Coming to the plate. Here comes the throw. Safe. And the Drillers win it. In the bottom of the ninth inning.